All right, today we're diving into one of demonology's most, well, sophisticated figures, Behemoth. He's this nocturnal demon of indulgence, and his brand of corruption, it doesn't arrive with a bang. Nope, it comes with a quiet, satisfied sigh.
You know exactly what I'm talking about, right? We've all been there. That moment of private indulgence hidden away from the judgment of the day. Well, that is Behemoth's domain. That quiet little space where a simple, normal appetite can start to, well, curdle into a vice.
So that's really the big question for us today, isn't it? Is Behemoth just some giant monster from an ancient text? Or is he something way more subtle and maybe even more dangerous? To figure that out, we've got to trace his pretty surprising evolution.
Okay, so first things first, we need to draw a really crucial distinction here. The behemoth we're talking about today, he's a very different creature from the one you might remember from the book of Job.
And this is where we see this just fascinating transformation. See, the original Behemoth was actually a symbol of God's incredible, awesome creative power. He was quite literally the beast. But somewhere along the line, that figure got a total rewrite. He was remade into a demon, a prince of hell who embodies the complete corruption of our appetites. So how did that happen? Well, it definitely wasn't an overnight change. We're talking about a slow, deliberate transformation that took place over centuries, as theologians and demonologists basically tried to create a taxonomy of evil itself. So this journey, it starts way back in the book of Job, where he's presented as this marvel of creation. Then, a bit later, you get these apocalyptic texts pairing him up with the sea monster Leviathan, creating this kind of primal, beastly rivalry. Fast forward to the medieval era, and he's basically the poster boy for gluttony. And then, finally, by the 16th century, he gets a promotion. He's a full-blown infernal bureaucrat with an actual job title in hell.
Okay, so what does this infernal prince actually do? What's his job description? Well, let's open up the dossier and look at his official duties and powers according to those classic grimoires.
Now, don't make the mistake of thinking this guy is just some mindless brute. Oh no, his resume is actually pretty specific. He's the chief of the demons of gluttony, he's Hell's official cupbearer, and he's a specialist. His specialty? Tempting those who have sworn off worldly pleasures. You know, like monks and ascetics. This is a demon with a very, very targeted skill set. And on top of that, he's a shapeshifter. Sure, he can show up as a monstrous elephant-headed thing or a grotesquely fat man. But, and this is absolutely crucial, he can also appear as a figure of surprising beauty with an incredibly seductive voice. See, that's the key to his power. It isn't just about pushing you towards excess, it's about making that excess seem beautiful, desirable, sophisticated, all while making sure you never ever feel truly satisfied. And let's be really clear here, this isn't just about food. Behemoth's domain covers all kinds of indulgence. We're talking about the obsessive accumulation of wealth, the endless, restless search for comfort, really any sophisticated vice where the guiding principle is that enough is simply never enough. And believe it or not, we can get even more specific. The famous theologian Thomas Aquinas, he actually drilled down and identified 5 distinct ways that the vice of gluttony can show up. Now, here's what's so fascinating. Look at Behemoth's specialty. He's not really about just eating too much. He excels at the more refined, more subtle forms of the vice, eating too eagerly or even eating too daintily. He targets the moment where a simple, healthy appreciation for something becomes this fastidious, prideful obsession. He takes a good thing and convinces you to make it an idol. So there's this recurring theme in everything we've talked about so far, Behemoth's connection to the night. And there is a really deep symbolic reason he's considered a nocturnal demon. He basically works the night shift. I mean, just think about it. For one, night provides concealment, right? It hides our little secret indulgences. 2, our reason and our willpower, they're just naturally weaker when we're tired. 3, our basic desires often feel way more urgent and justified at night. And finally, throughout history, the evening feast has always been the classic setting for decadence. It is the perfect environment for those temptations that just whisper, why not? Right when our guard is at its lowest. Yeah, the midnight snack, the extra drink after everyone else has gone to bed, those private little feasts, those moments when we feel totally unobserved, when we whisper to ourselves, I deserve this, or just one more. That is precisely when Behemoth does his absolute best work.
So you might be wondering, does this ancient demon really have any relevance today? Oh, absolutely. His presence is still felt all over the place, in our culture and even in our everyday language.
I mean, one of the most famous and honestly brilliant literary examples is from Mikhail Bulgakov's masterpiece, The Master and Margarita. In it, Behemoth appears as part of Satan's entourage, and he's a giant, talking, chaos-loving black cat who drinks vodka and plays chess. It's this wild, whimsical take, but it perfectly captures the demon's connection to pure indulgence and absurdity. And like I said, this even seeps into our language. Think about it. When we call a huge company a corporate behemoth, we're tapping into that sense of overwhelming size and power. But what we've kind of lost is that original moral dimension, the idea of an appetite so massive that it actually becomes destructive.
And really, this brings us right to the heart of it all. The real danger with Behemoth isn't about fire and brimstone. It's his subtlety. See, he doesn't tempt us with things that are obviously evil. No, he tempts us with things that are legitimately good. Food, comfort, pleasure, rest. And then he just whispers for us to take them just one step too far, into a corrupting extreme. Because you have to remember, not all evil shows up with horns and a pitchfork. Sometimes it arrives beautifully presented, on a silver platter even, offered with that quiet little assurance that, hey, you've earned it, and just this once couldn't possibly hurt. So that really just leaves us with a final, lingering question. Behemoth's whole story is about turning blessings into curses by simply grasping too tightly. It makes you wonder, what temptations wait for you in the dark?